Twitter's only black engineer in a leadership position left the company. Activision bought Candy Crush Saga maker King, and Facebook released its earnings report.
So the only black engineer in a leadership position at Twitter left because he wasn't happy with the way Twitter was handling diversity there. So what's going on over there?
Hoo-wee. Yeah, so this week's been a little cray-cray at Twitter for Twitter. So as you mentioned, Leslie Miley, he was the only black engineer in a leadership position at Twitter. He came out with this Medium post earlier this week talking about his experience at Twitter. Basically what he says happened is that Twitter's SVP of engineering, Alex Roeder, I think that's how you pronounce his name, but I honestly don't really care because he's on my shit list. But anyway, so he made some comments about diversity and having to lower the bar in order to achieve diversity.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's
Crazy.
what people are getting really pissed off about, as they should be, because it's not a good comment to make. I almost swore.
No.
But
Not a good comment.
But and then he also but even that was not even the tipping point for Miley. Basically, then a few months later, Miley and Roeder were having this conversation about a potential role within the engineering department to focus on diversity.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm sure this went really well.
so Roeder came up with this terrible idea to basically to try to analyzing
last names.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
to try to figure out, like,
Right.
if your last name's Smith, like, what can people grab from that? I don't know.
Exactly. So it was a terrible idea that was it just did not take into account the history of slavery and race and just everything. So
Tone
that
deaf, yes.
Exactly. So that was basically the tipping point for Miley. Let's see, and then
Who was laid off, by the way, right?
Well, so here's the
okay.
thing.
Sorry.
Here's the thing. So Miley had already told Twitter that he was going to leave at the end of October.
Okay.
I don't know if this is I know this for a fact, but my theory is that Twitter was trying to basically silence Miley by trying to pay him off. So there's like, okay, you're already leaving, but let's bucket you into these layoffs.
Right.
Sign this non-disparagement agreement, which he did not because he wanted to speak.
There you
Yeah.
go. Okay.
So he left a lot of money on the table.
He left stuff on the table to talk about his experience. That's
Yeah.
admirable right there.
Exactly. And then Roeder came out with like an apology last night, and
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
this just seems
It was
like
the apology, non-apology. It was, that wasn't
he was
really
like,
the
yeah.
context.
He was like, I didn't communicate well, which is basically just saying that like Miley just didn't understand what he
Right.
was saying, which is bullshit. And
What should Twitter do? I mean, what in this situation? It's not an easy
it's
thing
not-
to deal with. It's not a problem you
it's
snap
not
your
an
fingers.
easy fix.
Yeah.
So in Roeder's response last night, he mentioned that Twitter is going to focus more on retention, which they obviously should.
Yeah.
And that they will be releasing stats around retention. So that's going to be really interesting to see. Again, I don't know when that's going to come out. Obviously, like, I'm going to hold them to it. I hope other people will as well. And then they're also going to start requiring inclusion training starting in January for everyone. I then actually asked Twitter's head of comms, like, has Roeder taken this already? But no response.
It's fair. It's fair. I mean, Twitter's been doing all of this, transparency stuff with developers. That's what Twitter Flight was about. Bringing developers back to the platform. To me, it sounds like there's some house cleaning needs to be done. They need to look at some stuff going on before they start trying to bring people back to develop apps and whatever. So hopefully they do that. I mean, and hopefully they're transparent about the inclusion training they're doing. I don't know what's involved. I don't know how many companies do that. So, I mean, hopefully something good can come out of it.
Right, and Miley seems to be optimistic about Jack in this leadership position.
Good.
But I mean, if that can't even trickle down to the SVP, I mean, how do you expect it to get across the entire company?
I mean, yeah, for recruiting, for across the board, it's not a great situation. To not take a package, to shush, and to talk about the experience, Miley, that's awesome.
quite a mess.
Yeah.
So another big story this week, 5.9 billion
for
What?
Candy Crush.
Sweet. What was that? Divine. I used to be all about that game.
Activision Blizzard.
Activision Blizzard bought King Digital for $5.9 billion.
Can anyone name another game they do other than Candy Crush?
Papa Pear Saga.
What?
It was a Peggle clone way back in the day.
You're speaking a different language, dude.
Pet Rescue Saga.
All right.
We've just
Candy
identified
Crush.
you're not a gamer, basically.
I'm not a gamer, but that's a lot of candy.
It's a lot of candy.
What were the specifics of the deal? Why King.com?
So King is basically one of the, they've arguably made the most popular game of all time. Captured such a wide, massive audience, hundreds of millions of people playing their games. But at the same time, King is kind of facing a lot of the issues that other game development companies have kind of faced, where, as the popularity for their mega hit wanes, they have to come up with a second hit.
Right.
And so far, nothing quite materializing yet. Their revenue last quarter was kind of down from the previous quarter, even though their users are kind of going up, right? And so, what this is Activision Blizzard has been a console game maker and a PC game maker.
Yes.
They don't do mobile games. And so now they're basically buying their way to mobile gaming, right? And games are tough.
For $5.9 billion.
Yeah.
I mean,
do you still play Candy Crush?
No, I had to go to a 12-step program and stuff. Not actually, but I remember at one point, in a week, I spent $200 playing Candy Crush.
Oh, wow.
I had a serious issue. So, I put down the game. I haven't touched it in about a year. I can't go back.
Yeah, it's addictive, right?
Yeah.
So,
Very addictive.
That's what Zynga. Zynga made all their money off of whales that spent all the money on the platform.
Whales like Megan.
Whales? Wait, who are we calling
Basically,
a whale?
they're people that spend a lot of money on the game compared to not the people that spend $1 or $2, the people that spend thousands of dollars.
All right.
On games. So we're talking thousands of dollars on Farmville and Cityville.
Okay, if King.com is worth $5.9 billion, how much is Zynga worth right now?
This is a couple billion. It's definitely not as big as King. So
okay, think they'll stay independent?
Zynga?
Yeah.
Oh man, I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
So, but they they're a publicly traded company. They actually beat their earnings last week. So,
good.
Nice.
they're not doing. It's not King, obviously.
Yeah.
Let's go make some games.
Yeah. Speaking of
We're in the
earnings.
wrong business. Yeah.
Favorite.
Megan's favorite topic.
Your favorite topic.
Facebook earnings, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
We're done.
Well, okay, so maybe.
You can talk and she'll move her mouth.
Yeah. Right. Well, no. Okay, so okay, fine. We'll talk about the earnings outside of that. But 1.55 billion people using Facebook.
Monthly active users?
I think it's monthly active.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And we're talking back to Twitter, 66 million US users.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's a lot of people. And then there's eyeballs on videos, right?
Yeah.
What are the 8 billion views?
Yeah.
But is that
Yeah,
because of the autoplay though?
Of course it is.
Yeah.
And they count a view after 2 seconds? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. How do you feel about these earnings reports?
I don't give a shit about the earnings reports.
Yeah.
But that not billion dollar, but that billion users, 1.5 billion, that is quite a lot. But I'm not really surprised. Facebook's a legit platform. It connects a lot of people. I still use it. It's still my go-to social network.
Are you a DAU for them?
DAU, daily active user.
Totally.
Significant portion of those more than billion users are daily active users too. It's crazy. The engagement for that is absolutely nuts, and so is the video engagement apparently.
Video engagement, advertising is doing great. Facebook's nailing it.
Yeah, WhatsApp, Instagram, everything. $300 billion company. Yeah.
It's
hard to wrap your head around.
It's hard to wrap your head around, and it's interesting to see Facebook. There's a lot of doubters when they do a lot of these initiatives, and it's paying off. Investors love them, and the street loves them, and Mark is doing Mark stuff and giving away money and loving
starting
life.
a school.
Yeah, starting a school.
Yeah, in East Palo Alto.
Look, I'll be honest. Years ago, if you would have told me that Facebook was going to be like a Apple or a Google, I'd have lulled at you. And they're killing it. So good on them.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, everyone.